Angolans are casting their votes in the presidential elections. Ruling party candidate and incumbent President João Lourenço cast his vote earlier. The highly contested elections are a standoff between a ruling party in power for decades and an opposition with growing appeal among the youth. Now, the poll is expected to be the tightest since the first multi-party election in 1992. The People's Movement for the Liberation of Angola, MPLA, has governed Africa's second biggest oil producer since independence from Portugal in 1975. But long-time opposition party National Union for the Total Independence of Angola, UNITA, is stronger than ever as anger grows at government failures to convert a vast oil wealth into better living conditions for all. Wearing red and green UNITA's colours, thousands of people gathered in the suburb of the capital Luanda for the party's final rally yesterday. Right now, we are joined on the line by ANC International Relations Committee Chairperson Lindiwe Zulu, who is in Luanda. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, ma'am. Now, over 14 million Angolans, of course, are headed to the polls. Perhaps let's start with your role in Angola's fifth election since independence and some of your expectations.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and a very good afternoon from a very hot and humid Angola. Yes, we are here as the delegation of the African National Congress, obviously having been invited to come and monitor the elections, but we also have, from a government point of view, we have those that have joined SADC as a region as requested to come and monitor the elections. But from an ANC point of view, we have very strong relations with MPLA, as I'm sure that historically it is well understood and appreciated that this is the party that supported us throughout our liberation struggle. And this is a party that we continue to have very strong relations with. Hence, we were invited to come and monitor the elections. And we have already been to 5 voting stations so far since morning. We're out already by 7 this morning. And everywhere we have been, the elections are very peaceful. People are going into the polls. We found it to be much more organized, and we think that Angola in particular, from a point of view of having free and fair elections, because one of the most important elements of the African National Congress and MPLA and all liberation movements is that we need to really move towards ensuring that there's free and fair elections. We need to make sure that we create systems that are accountable so that people can be able to know that their vote is a secret and their vote will be counted properly. We want democracy to thrive in the region, and we want democracy to thrive in the entire African continent.
Now, of course, there's been much anticipation, for the millions of the youth that will be participating in this particular election. But we are hearing reports, though, that some of the polling stations, for instance, remain closed across the country, and that some citizens are finding it difficult to locate exactly where they should be voting. As an observer, what are you seeing on the ground?
Well, what we have seen in Luanda, I can only talk about Luanda and the polling stations that we went to slightly outside of Luanda. We haven't yet received the reports, which we are going to do later this afternoon, from those who are in the far-flung areas. So far, what we have managed to see so far, what we have witnessed so far has been very smooth. What we have also witnessed is the system that they are making sure that is a system that is easy and easily accessible. In fact, we found that their voters' roll not only does have the IDs of people, it even has the photographs of the person who is coming to vote. It's something that we also need to maybe look out for. I cannot at the moment make any comments about other places where we have not been to. We are going to a meeting later this afternoon where we are going to be able to get reports from across the country. But what we have seen so far has really been smooth elections. And in fact, around Luanda itself, there is hardly any disturbances. So far, we've seen a very smooth running of the elections. We were just actually very excited because some of the elections, the polling stations are outside, not even in a room. They are outside, and people are sitting outside. And the turnaround time for a person to vote is quite quick. Many of the stations we went to, they opened at exactly 7 o'clock sharp. We visited a few. So that's why I'm saying I do not want to make comments about far-flung areas until such time that we get the reports. The good thing is that we even have the SADC delegation that is here, that is monitoring, that has gone out to very far away places, to 200, 300 kilometers away from Luanda, because they've been here much longer than ourselves.
All right, now, Minister, I'm going to ask you to, let's just take a little bit of a course change now and respond to some developments that are happening back home. I want you to, of course, speak as, of course, you're wearing your hat of ANC International Relations Committee Chairperson. Of course, the immigration issues are coming out again back home with that viral video of the MEC of Health in Limpopo, Dr. Poppy Ramathuba. I just want your comments in as far as some of the utterances and the sentiments that she shared on that video.
I think that the African National Congress, as you all know, the African National Congress is not discriminatory at all. And the African National Congress does its best to ensure that those issues of migration and those issues of foreign nationals who are in the country, we have consistently said, we have to do what needs to be done that is within the law of South Africa. I do not really want to make a comment on that video because I think that head office will have to deal with it, and I think the province itself will have to deal with it. I have seen the video, obviously, because it's doing the rounds everywhere, and I think that some of the comments are unfortunate, but that's not for me to decide what needs to be done. All I can say is that, yes, as a country and as a nation, everybody knows that we are struggling with the numbers of foreign nationals who are here, some of whom who are illegal and so forth. But I think that the Department of Health also appreciates the stress and strain that is there. But I think that the leadership back home will have to deal with the issue because, quite frankly, I think some of the comments were very unfortunate.
Thank you so much for your time, ma'am. Really do appreciate it. That's ANC International Relations Committee Chairperson Lindiwe Zulu coming to us live there from Angola. Well, that's the wrap of the